Alright, SlimmBob here. Time for another video. Another review, and this time a film. And a controversial film. Came out in well, they can't seem to decide when it came out. 1980, I'm saying. And the film I'm talking about is Caligula. And the reason why this was so controversial is because it had some really big name actors in it. Like Malcolm McDowell, like Ellen Mirren, blooming Peter O'Toole, who'd won I think he'd won 3 Oscars at that point. And he were in this film. And John Gielgud were in it as well. And it had porn in it, like real hardcore porn. Which, to be honest, ruins the film. But, yeah. Luckily, there are other versions of the film that try to rectify that. But the thing is, when it came out, this had hardcore porn in it. Well, about 10 minutes of hardcore shots it had in it. And it's a 2.5 hour film, so 10 minutes out of all that is not that much, I don't think. It's one of those situations where you're just thinking, how the hell did these stars get attached to this film? And quite honestly, the final result, I mean, it is violent. There are some, at the time, I imagine the violence was very graphic. It is really well done. The violence is really well done. It's got good acting in it, but it just has the subject matter and everything. But the point is, I've wanted to watch all these I had to. I haven't been obligated to, but my curiosity has forced me to watch these controversial films. And out of all of these controversial films, this is hands down the best. This is I loved this film. From start to finish, I would hear my mouth open all the way through, just thinking, what the fuck, how the hell? That is what I was asking myself all the way through. I'm like, how the hell? It's just one of those films. It's so fascinating to watch. It is like The Room. It's the 1970s version of The Room. It's like you're just watching it all the way through, just thinking, how did this film get made? And it is kind of like The Room, and like stuff like Tron and things like that, where it's one of those films. It's like films are never going to be made like this ever again. You are watching film history when you watch this film. It is like Tron in that sense. So yeah, what's Caligula about? Well, basically it's ancient Rome. It's an epic. That's the thing, you can tell it should have been one of them epics. You know, like Lawrence of Arabia and Ben Hur and things like that. It should have been one of them epics, but it's like, there's so much nudity and so much sex that it just completely, and it's so poorly edited, it's a train wreck. But in terms of story, it's about Caligula's reign as emperor in ancient Rome, and it's set between, he were only emperor for 4 years, I think. Yeah, 37 to 41. So yeah, he were only emperor 4 years. And Malcolm McDowell plays Caligula, and I've got to say, it's actually the best performance I've seen from him. I mean, it's better than A Clockwork Orange, because that was one of them films. That would have been perfect, that film, if they'd have fucking had real dialogue instead of that flowery Cockney rhyming bullshit that they had, because that ruined that film. It fucking ruined it, and there's no excuse. If you have a writer for a film, let him write dialogue. Don't fucking do that flowery shit. But that's another thing completely. But yeah, Caligula, Malcolm McDowell is Caligula. It's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator. It's the exact same thing. I cannot see Malcolm McDowell as anyone else anymore. He is Caligula. He just gets this role so perfect. You can see he worked his arse off on this role, and it's just such a mesmerising performance that he does. And it is a shame that these hardcore scenes were put in, but yeah, the story's it's basically just about, well, I think the main conflict actually, it's just Malcolm McDowell wanting to marry his sister, which, yeah, 1980. It's not a theme you really want in these kind of films, like incest. You know, you don't want, like, you know, fucking hermaphrodites in your film. You don't want, like, you know, your emperor raping people on their wedding days, and I don't just mean the wife, I mean both. Well, he don't actually rape the guy, well, he does rape him, he don't, he fists him instead, and that scene in itself, that's a disturbing scene in its own right. That is a brilliant scene. And it's just the way it ends. I don't want to spoil how it ends, but he does something, Caligula does something that is just, it just completely takes all the tension out of the scene and just makes it hilarious. And it's even more funny when you're told on one of the commentaries that the guy who was getting fisted, he weren't really fisted by the way, but the guy who was fisted, his entire family were in studio audience apparently. It's like, my god, that's the first thing they ever see you do in a film, and it's like, wow, I got fisted, and it's, wow. Yeah, I bought this film. This is how much I liked it. I bought it. I bought the Imperial Edition, which in the UK is a 4-disc thing. In the US it's only 3 discs. I don't know what differences there are on extras, but I'm just going by this version. This version of Caligula, this has 3 versions of the film on it. It has the uncut version, which is the first time we've seen it in this country, and quite honestly it's not the best version of film. And then we have the alternative version, which it is more close, it's more close to what Tinto Brass envisioned it to be. So all the hardcore shots are gone, which makes it better for a start, because it's way too distracting. They go on, you get this ridiculous scene and all, like where, what is it, they're having a threesome, aren't they? Like Caligula, his sister Drusilla, and his wife, what's her name? I don't know, Helen Mirren. So you got Malcolm McDowell, Helen Mirren, and Teresa, what's her name? I can't remember. But they're having a threesome, and then you got these 2 lesbians are spying on him. They're shagging over a room, and it's like a porn. And it's like, why is that even filmed? Why? They're supposed to be spying on him anyway. Why would they fuck? I don't know. The hardcore scenes make no sense. So if you're going to watch any version of this film, watch the alternative version, because yeah, the uncut version has too much hardcore shit in it, and the plus the alternative version actually rejuggles, it brings back some sense of continuity, because the uncut version starts where you see Caligula and Drusilla fondling each other in woods, and it's like, that actually, that's a scene from halfway into the film. So like, it makes no sense to start the film like that, because later on you see half of that scene, and in the alternative cut they actually put it back into real continuity, so it makes perfect sense, because that scene takes place when Tiberius dies, so they are now free in a sense, and that in itself is actually a really good scene. It's a really nice scene. It shows, because they're really celebrating it, and it's just a nice scene. They get these stupid fucking penthouse models tying up this guy's knob and stuff, and it's like, thanks for doing that, pointless shit. Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about this film. It's like, you have no idea how to take it. You have to buy it just for commentaries as well, this, because it has 3 commentary tracks, and 2 of them are by Malcolm McDowell and Helen Mirren, and just the fact that you got these big name stars coming back to this film, watching it and talking about how they have fond memories from this film. It's amazing that these actors are willing to do that, and I have a lot of respect for them for that. Because to be honest, it looks like they have a lot of fun on set, and it's one of those experiences. I've never watched something like this. It really is one in a kind, and if you can handle like hardcore porn, if you can handle porn in general, you know, I definitely recommend this film. It's really is a one in a kind experience, and just the sets, like you get like these sets, like there's a bit, yeah, Peter O'Toole's performance. I mean, just that in itself, like the set that they go on to, there's a bit Tiberius, he plays Tiberius, and they go into his dungeon, let's call it, and that opening shot into his dungeon, you have like 20 people in the background on this amazing set, beautiful lighting, they're actually fucking. All them people are having sex, real sex, and it's like, it's just, how does that happen? I mean, this is one of that sex. You just, how is it being used for something so sleazy? And I don't know. It's just really amazing. You look at it, thinking, what? And then you got that with a wall. It's like a wall. It's got lawnmower blades on bottom, and you have these people buried in sand with their heads like that, and it chops their heads off. It's like a wall. I mean, it's so preposterous. But yeah, Peter O'Toole's performance, he must have, I mean, Ellen Mirren explains that he was stoned, like, he was stoned on set. And you can tell, when you look at it, it's like, does he even know where he is? You got this really high profile actor, and it's like he has no idea what he's doing. But he's right good. It's like he pulls it off because Tiberius was this. That's the point of that character. So that's what's funny about it. It's like, did they mean to do that? It right reminds me of Deadly Premonition, you know, on Xbox. Because that is one of them games. I reviewed it now. It's one of them games you play it and you think, it's just, how much of this is the artist's intent? How much of this is just like that with audio that's always all over the place and stuff? And this has got that same kind of appeal. I love these kind of films. Like, one of my favourite Batman film is the Adam West one, because it's one of them. It's like that bit where they bloody fall on mattress, like the Batcopter goes down and they happen to fall on a mattress convention, like bang in the middle of these mattresses, and it's absolutely ridiculous. This is exactly the same. But no, it's not. It's not like, you know what I mean though? It has that same kind of feel. It isn't a sick film. It's not a disturbing film. Yeah, the rape scene is quite, but when you watch it again, you can't help but laugh, because you just know that Malcolm McDowell is going to put a flower in this guy's ass. It's just, oh my god, it's just so funny the way it's done. Apparently critics hate this film. I mean, you will be really lucky to find a review for this film that's positive. And they were even a site, I forgot which one it were, they reviewed this version of the film, and they said they were disgusted that it was released uncut and that the BBFC, they've gone mad, I tell you, mad, and they were going really over the top over it. And it's a fucking film. I mean, you compare this, something like a Serbian film, and that film was deliberately trying to wind people up. It was deliberately trying to piss people off and insult people. And this film, you can tell it was harmless, and people took it wrong way, because in the fact that there was so much trouble. Like, this is the film that's proven that pornography cannot be made mainstream. This is the film that proved it, essentially. And it was still a really successful film when it came out, but this proves that it can't work. And that's the fun in this film. You can tell that everyone's having such a good time on set. It's like, what the hell are they going to do next? And I love them kind of films. For me, the alternate cut is easily the best one. I would give it 5, because I think this is one of them films I'm going to watch over and over again, and I'm going to treasure this film. And I don't care. It's not something I'd watch with other people. Like, you have to be prepared. If you're going to watch something like this, you can't be prudent, if you know what I mean. You got to open your mind. But once if you're drunk, it's an absolute blast, this film. And yeah, for me, it's 5 stars. It's one of them films. Every time I watch it, I just absolutely mesmerised, and that curiosity rises. And I think it's really funny how historians say that this is the most accurate depiction of ancient Rome, because apparently, according to historians, you know, it's implied that they were this over the top when it comes to sex, and they did just do everything over the top. Like the fact that there's a bit in this film where Caligula, he wants to invade somewhere, so what he does, he basically gets his army and makes them attack this random place and bring back a load of sugar canes. And it's like, yeah, that's literally what they do. He gets the army to cut down sugar canes. And then there's a bit where he this were a deleted scene actually. There's a deleted scene. This should have made it into the film actually. The deleted scene where he appoints his horse as a senator. And that entire scene, it's just so... There's nothing like this film, and it's not for everyone, it really isn't. If you're not a fan of this type of cinema, if you can't handle extreme sex, then do not, just keep away from this film. It'll offend you, probably. It will offend you. But the great thing about this in terms of sexuality, it isn't, a lot of these kind of films are biased towards women, if you know what I mean. So they show a lot more women and a lot more vaginas, essentially. This doesn't. It's pretty equal in terms of nudity and stuff. And yeah, it's a real rare film, and for me, it's 5 stars. I've never. Wow, it's just a brilliant experience. But for people who aren't used to this kind of cinema, just fucking keep away from it. You won't enjoy it. 0 stars if you're not used to this kind of cinema. But yeah, this is one of those unexpected ones, and I understand why people don't like it. I get it completely. But you know, from what I expect in a film, and I don't look for good films, if that makes sense. I just look to be entertained, and this entertained me so much, because I don't even like period dramas that much. But how can you? I'm not even calling this isn't a period drama. I mean, my point is, if you're going to buy any version of this film, I don't know if this is actually on Blu-ray, the Imperial cut or Imperial edition. So I would get this version, because it even has the original script by what do you call him, Gore Vidal. It even has on the bonus disc. It has the original script, so you can actually watch the film and have the script open and actually see how it's changed and all that, and it's really fascinating just to see that change. I think if you're a film student, it's a gem, this, because this is just, it teaches you so much about the process of films, really. Just, it's so beautifully shot though. I mean, it's not. I think it's a shame really, because I think if Tinto Brass had had his way, this would have legitimately been a good film. So, it's a shame it didn't, but, you know, what we got was something out of this world, and I'm glad I saw it, and yeah, that's that. What did you think of Caligula? Have you even bloody heard of this film? Claims to be the most controversial film ever. How many of them do that? Bloody, well, so, have you heard of Caligula? What did you think? How much did you hate it? Because nobody seemed to like it. I don't care. I thought it was alright. Yeah, it's solid B. If the alternative version is solid B. It got me completely. The curiosity got me. And I had an absolute blast with this film. So, yeah, Caligula. You'll either love it or hate it, but it's one of them films. And yeah, this is SlimmBob. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Password.
Scrotum.
So be it.